Please pay respect to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Today I would like to explain about the only way for the realization of Nibbana. For the realization of Nibbana, are there how many ways? No one gave answer. How many ways? Only one way, not two way. What is one way? This is very important. Do you have enough faith in the Buddha? Have you enough faith in the Buddha? Do you have enough faith again in the Dhamma taught by the Buddha? Do you have enough faith? The Buddha's teaching. This is important. My teaching is not important. Buddha's teaching is important. So you should have enough faith in the Buddha's teaching. This is the Buddha's teaching now. Mahasatipatthana Sutta. You had already understood. In the beginning, as an introduction, Buddha says, the only way bhikkhus is this path for the purification of beings, for the surmounting of sorrow and lamentation, for the disappearance of pain and grief, for the attainment of the noble path, for the realization of Nibbana, namely the 4 foundations of mindfulness. M170, this is Majjhima Nikaya. There are 3 volumes, so this is number 1 volume, page number 70, according to 16th edition. What are the 4? Number 1. Here bhikkhus, a bhikkhu abides contemplating the body in the body, ardent, fully aware and mindful, having put away covetousness and grief for the world. He abides contemplating feelings and the feelings, ardent, fully aware and mindful, having put away covetousness and grief for the world. Number 3. He abides contemplating mind and the mind, ardent, fully aware and mindful, having put away covetousness and grief for the world. Number 4. He abides contemplating Dhamma objects and the Dhamma objects, ardent, fully aware and mindful, having put away covetousness and grief for the world. This is the introduction of Mahasatipatthana Sutta. When practicing Satipatthana, 4 foundations of mindfulness, you must have 3 types of quality. Number 1, ardent. You should have enough effort for the realization of Nibbana. Second, full aware. You must try to understand your meditation object fully. If you understand your meditation object partially, it is impossible. Full awareness of your meditation object is very important. Then number 3 is mindful. You must always mindful. You must always remember your meditation objects. You must establish your mindfulness on your meditation object always. So these three are very important. Number one, viriya, effort. Number two, fully aware, or clear comprehension. Number three, mindful. Then you must remove two important defilements. Number one, having put away covetousness. Number two, grief, unhappiness. While meditating, if you have strong attachment to your sensual objects, this is impossible for realization of Nibbana. So you must put aside every attachment. Secondly, unhappiness. If there are many difficulties because of business, at that time if you meditate, it is not easy to be successful. So unhappiness you must remove while practicing meditation. So if there are four types of meditation subjects, body, you must contemplate the body in the body. You must contemplate feelings in the feeling. You must contemplate mind in the mind. You must contemplate Dhamma objects in the Dhamma objects. So, Kaya, Vedana, Citta, Dhamma. Body, feeling, mind, and Dhamma objects. All together, four subjects. But if you practice one meditation, one session, for example, Anapana session, thoroughly according to Buddha's instruction, stage by stage, then you had already practiced four foundations of mindfulness. Satipatthana, Cattaro Satipatthana. How? So please try to listen. Number one session in Mahasatipatthana Sutta about Anapana meditation. Number one Samatha meditation Buddha teach in Mahasatipatthana Sutta about Anapana. Number two, Buddha teaches Vipassana meditation. So Samatha and Vipassana, Buddha teach stage by stage. So body contemplation, Kayanupassana. In how bhikkhus does a bhikkhu abide contemplating the body and the body? Here a bhikkhu gone to the forest or to the root of a tree or to a secluded place, sits down, having folded his legs crosswise, set his body erect, and having established mindfulness on his meditation object, ever mindful he breathes in, ever mindful he breathes out. So in this case, Buddha gave instruction suitable place for meditation. Number one, forest. Number two, the root of a tree. Or number three, secluded place. So you should choose this suitable place. Then, while practicing Anapana meditation, you should sit down. Sitting posture is best posture for higher concentration. Because of this reason, Buddha teach to sit down. But in every bodily posture, you can practice this Anapana meditation. However, whilst practicing Anapana, sitting posture is best posture for the attainment of jhana concentration, full absorption stage. So, after sitting, you should fold your legs crosswise. So this is important. Then set your body erect. You must put erect. Bending is not good because the butt of the breath is not straight. At that time, you cannot concentrate well. Then having established mindfulness on his meditation object, You must establish your mindfulness on your meditation object. Do you understand? If you want to practice Anapana, you should establish your mindfulness on your Anapana object. If you establish your mindfulness in different objects, then this is not Anapana meditation. Is it true? Because you are paying attention to different objects. So we cannot say you are practicing Anapana meditation. So if you want to practice Anapana meditation, you should establish your mindfulness on your meditation object. This is Anapana. Ever mindful, he breathes in. Ever mindful, he breathes out. Then Buddha teaches another systematically samatha meditation. Number 1, breathing in loud, he understands I breathe in loud. Or breathing out loud, he understands I breathe out loud. Number 2, breathing in short, he understands I breathe in short. Or breathing out short, he understands I breathe out short. Number 3, he trains thus I shall breathe in, experiencing the whole body of breath. He trains thus I shall breathe out, experiencing the whole body of breath. Number 4, he trains thus I shall breathe in, tranquilizing the bodily formation. He trains thus I shall breathe out, tranquilizing the bodily formation. What is the meaning? The meaning of these 4 sentences. Sentence 1 and 2. Here long breath and short breath means the duration of time of the actual breath. Their length and shortness should be understood by a state. Adhana. If the meditator breathes slowly, that breath is called long. If the meditator breathes quickly, that breath is called short. That long or short breath should be known on the touching point only. That is on the nostril or upper lip only. However, the meditator must not intentionally try to make the breath either long or short. Please allow the breath to arise and fall in a natural way. This is very important. So, long breath and short breath means where? On the nostril or upper lip. This is we call touching point. On the touching point, you should wait and see the breath. When it is long, you should try to understand this is long. When it is short, you should try to understand this is short. However, you should not try intentionally to make the breath either long or short. Please allow your breath in a natural way. This is very important. Then sentence number 3. The whole body of breath. The whole body of breath means the beginning, middle, and end of the entire in-breath and out-breath. On the touching point only. That is on the nostril or upper lip only. It is not necessary to see the breath going through the whole body from head to foot. This is also very important. Some meditation teachers teach, in this case, to see the breath from head to foot, especially in United States. So they instruct the whole body of breath means they must follow from the head to foot. The breath is going throughout the body. But in our Visuddhimagga commentary, you can see, please carefully note the following explanation. Phutta Photo Gasebana Sadain Tapitava Bhavanta Bhavana Sambichati. This is very important. A bhikkhu must have the necessary mindfulness and understanding and must look for the in-breaths and out-breaths. Nowhere else than the place. That means the nostril or upper lip only. normally touched by them. However, his development is successful when he establishes his mindfulness the place, that is the nostril or upper lip only, touched by the breath. If he cultivates mindfulness of breathing in this way, then his meditation can be fully developed up to the attainment of jhana. This is Visuddhimagga, Volume 1, page number 271. This rule is very important. Because of this reason, while practicing Anapana meditation, you must try to see only the breath on the touching point, that is on the nostril or upper lip for beginners. On the upper lip or nostril only. So if you can watch your breath on the touching point only, then you can attain jhana. If you follow inside and outside, then if you follow inside throughout the body, your mind will go throughout the body. This is we call restlessness, vikshepa. If there is restlessness, concentration cannot be developed. So please do not follow throughout the body your breath. You should watch here on the nostril only. On the nostril, you must try to understand the breath from the beginning to the end. Beginning, the middle, and the end. So, where begins only on the touching point only. Where ends only on the touching point only. You should not search for anywhere, only this. You should fix one area. If the meditator has long nose, then the breath touches on the nostril. If the meditator's nose is short, like Burmese, then the breath touches on the upper lip only. So you should watch where it's very clear. On that clear point, you should wait and see the just breath only. From this point, you should not move your attention to anywhere. Then another is about nimitta. I want to explain about nimitta because some meditation teachers, they do not accept nimitta. Buddha never teach nimitta in many suttas. This is their argument. But in Paticamidamagga, this is one Pali text. In Khuddaka Nikaya. Khuddaka Nikaya means there are 5 Nikayas. Number 1 is Digha Nikaya, long discourse. Number 2 is Majjhima Nikaya, the middle discourse. Number 3 is Samyutta Nikaya, connected sayings. Number 4 is Anguttara Nikaya, gradual sayings. Number 5 is Khuddaka Nikaya. They translate Khuddaka Nikaya as miscellaneous Nikaya. Miscellaneous means in Khuddaka Nikaya, Vinaya also under Khuddaka Nikaya. Abhidhamma also under Khuddaka Nikaya. The remaining different types of suttas also under Khuddaka Nikaya, such as Dhammapada, Iddhiyodaka, etc. So, in Khuddaka Nikaya, Paticamidamagga is one volume. In Paticamidamagga, Venerable Sariputta says this stanza, Nimitta asasa pasasa anaramana mega chaitasa Ajana do Diyodhami Bhavana Nupa Labhati. Paticamidamagga, page number 169. Anapana chapter. What is the meaning? Sign, in-breath, out-breath are not object of a single consciousness. By one who knows not these 3 things with a single consciousness, development is not obtained. What is the meaning? For beginners, number one, nimitta, sign is nostril or upper lip only. For beginners, because he did not yet see nimitta. Asasa is in-breath and pasasa is out-breath. These three things are not the object of a single consciousness. A single consciousness simultaneously understands both in-breath and nimitta, nostril or upper lip, or out-breath and nimitta, nostril or upper lip. However, if a meditator does not know these three things with a single consciousness, with a single mind movement, then his meditation cannot develop up to the attainment of jhana. What is the meaning? If you want to understand the meaning, then please follow after. For that reason, the meditator must try to know these three things simultaneously with a single consciousness, with a single mind movement, for the attainment of jhana. How should he try? Panisamita Magga again says that nimitta asasa pasasa anaramana mega chaitasa jhanando cha teo dhami bhavana upalabhati. Same page. What is the meaning? Sign, in-breath, out-breath are not object of a single consciousness. Development can be obtained by one who does not know these three things with a single consciousness. Development can be obtained. What is the meaning? When meditation improves and concentration on the natural breath, situated on the nostril or upper lip, becomes deeper and deeper, the nimitta sign will appear on the nostril or upper lip. At that time, the meditator's contemplating mind focuses on the nimitta only, not on the breath. There are three types of nimitta. Number one, the grey smoky kala nimitta, which is the preliminary sign, parigama nimitta. Number two, the white cotton wool kala nimitta, which is the landing sign, ogaha nimitta. Number three, the translucent and bright nimitta, like the morning star, which is the counterpart sign, patibhaga nimitta. Depending on a meditator's perception, there may also be different color or different shaped nimittas. However, sound is not the nimitta of Anapana jhana. Why? In America, some teachers teach when concentration begins, they hear one type of sound in the ear. They think this is the full absorption jhana. In this way they teach. So there are different color, different shape in nimittas, but sound is not nimitta, according to Buddha's teaching. So among these three types of nimitta sign, the counterpart sign is the object of Anapana jhana. At that time, number one, the nimitta sign is in Anapana counterpart sign, Anapana patibhaga nimitta. Number two, the in-breath is also Anapana counterpart sign. And number three, the out-breath is also Anapana counterpart sign. Asasa pasasi nisaya upana nimiddam pitta asasa pasasa saminya mewa. This is Visuddhimagga Mahadika, Volume 1, page number 390. What is the meaning? Depending on the natural in-breath and out-breath, the nimitta sign appears because of deep concentration. Therefore, nimitta can also be called the in-breath and the out-breath. So, in-breath also nimitta, out-breath also nimitta, nimitta also nimitta. So, these three are same at that time. Because of this reason, for that reason, when attaining jhana, that means at the actual moment of full absorption, a single consciousness or a single jhana mind moment can take these three things, the nimitta, the in-breath and the out-breath, as the object of jhana. Because at the jhana mind moment, these three things are only one object, that is only anapana counterpart sign. This is the meaning of sentence 4. The bodily formation, kaya sankhara, here means the in-breath and out-breath. In the Anguttara Nikaya, 9th chapter, Anubhava Nirodha Sutta, in Anguttara Nikaya, gradual sense, there are 3 volumes. Number 3 volume, page number 207. The Buddha says the in-breath and out-breath cease completely in the 4th jhana. Therefore, tranquilizing the bodily formation means the meditator must practice up to 4th jhana. So, in Mahasriprana Sutta, Buddha also teaches samatha meditations. Many meditation teachers, they don't want to accept. Buddha teaches samatha in Mahasriprana Sutta. They think Mahasriprana Sutta teaches only pure vipassana. This is their wrong teaching only. Buddha teaches up to 4th jhana only, but the system is very brief. Why? Listeners already understand what is the meaning, but nowadays many listeners, you may do not understand. So this is the difference. Because of this reason, when you attain up to the 4th jhana, at the actual full moment of full absorption stage, your breath completely stops. If you re-establish your 4th jhana attainment for about 1 hour, within 1 hour, your breath completely stops. Some meditators afraid. Oh, one may die at that time. It is impossible. The power of 4th jhana concentration can maintain your body. Don't be worried. It is not necessary to be afraid of. Then the Buddha continues his teaching with an example. Just as a skilled tanner or his apprentice, when making a long turn, understands I make a long turn. Or when making a short turn, understands I make a short turn. So too, breathing in long, he understands I breathe in long. Or breathing out long, he understands I breathe out long. Breathing in short, he understands I breathe in short. Or breathing out short, he understands I breathe out short. He trains thus I shall breathe in, experiencing the whole body of breath. He trains thus I shall breathe out, experiencing the whole body of breath. He trains thus I shall breathe in, tranquilizing the bodily formation. He trains thus I shall breathe out, tranquilizing the bodily formation. This is the Buddha's teaching in the Mahasriprana Sutta. There may be some listeners who understand the meaning of these sentences, but there may be some meditators, they may do not understand clearly. So we will try to explain in brief way. How a meditator develops concentration. To begin meditating, sit in a comfortable position and try to be aware of the breath as it enters and leaves the body through the nostrils. The meditator should be able to feel it either just below the nose or somewhere around the nostrils. That is called the touching point. Do not follow the breath into the body or out of the body, because then he will not be able to perfect his concentration. Just be aware of the breath at the most obvious place it brushes against or touches, either the top of the upper lip or around the nostrils. Then he will be able to develop and perfect his concentration. After concentrating his mind like this, for at least half an hour, he should proceed to the first and second stage of the meditation. That is long breath and short breath. So first he should try to concentrate on the breath only. If he can concentrate for a few minutes or maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it is a very good opportunity. It is not necessary to try counting breath. But if he cannot concentrate well, then he should try to count the breath. This is the suggestion of commentaries. But without counting, if you can concentrate well on your breath object for about 10 minutes or 20 minutes, then you can proceed to understand the long breath and short breath. When it is long, you should try to understand this is long. When it is short, you should try to understand this is short. However, please do not know this is long or this is short. If you want to know, then you should know only breathing in, breathing out only. Why? While practicing, concentration is very important. You should not investigate whether it is really long or whether it is really short. If you investigate in this way, then the enlightenment factor of investigation becomes excessive. When it is excessive, concentration will decrease. So because of this reason, please simply note breathing in, breathing out only. But when it is long, you should try to understand it is long. If you understand it is enough, it is not necessary to know this is long. When it is short, you should try to understand it is short. But please do not know this is short. If you understand, it is enough. At this stage, he has to develop awareness of whether the in and out breaths are long or short. Long or short here does not refer to length in feet and inches, but length in time, the duration. He should decide for himself what length of time he will call long and what length of time he will call short. Be aware of the duration of each in and out breath. He will notice that the breath is sometimes long in time and sometimes short. Just knowing this is all he has to do at this stage. Do not note in out long, in out short. Just in out in, be aware of whether the breath are long or short. He should know this by seeing just aware of the length of time that the breath brushes against and touches the upper lip or around the nostrils as it enters and leaves the body. Sometimes the breath may be long throughout the sitting and sometimes short, but do not purposely try to make it long or short. Throughout sitting, if it is long, no problem. Throughout sitting, when it is short, it is also no problem. If you understand throughout the breath, it is enough. At this stage, for some meditators, the nimitta may appear. But if he is able to do this calmly for about 1 hour and no nimitta appears, he should move on to the third stage, that is experiencing the whole body of breath. If he is calmly aware of the breath from beginning to end for about an hour and no nimitta appears, he should move on to the fourth stage, that is tranquilizing the bodily formation. To do this, he should decide to make the breath tranquil and go on being continuously aware of the breath from beginning to end. He should move on to the third stage that experiencing the whole body of breath. So, while practicing to understand the whole body of breath from the beginning to the end, it is also not necessary to know this is the beginning, this is the middle, this is the end. If you want to know, please know only simply breathing in, breathing out only. But throughout the whole breath, you must try to understand. When it is long, you should try to understand the whole body of breath. When it is short, you should try to understand the whole body of breath. Naturally, at that stage, when concentration develops, the breath becomes subtle. This is natural. At this stage, the nimitta may appear, but if he is able to do this calmly for about 1 hour and no nimitta appears, he should move on to the fourth stage, tranquilizing the bodily formation. When the breath becomes very calm, at that time you should not try to make the breath clear. Please concentrate on that calm breath, subtle breath. Subtle breath is very good. Why? Very soon nimitta will appear. When nimitta appear, you must focus on the nimitta. At that time, when the breath is very clear, then sometimes you may be able to concentrate on the nimitta. Sometimes you may be able to concentrate on your breath. So there may be two objects. If there are two objects, your concentration cannot improve. Because of this reason, when the breath becomes subtle, it is very good opportunity. You should not try to make the breath clear or to make the breath cross. If you try in this way, your effort becomes excessive. When effort is excessive, restless mind will appear. Concentration will decrease. Because of this reason, please allow your breath in a natural way. While concentrated on the whole breath body, whether it is long or short. At that time, when the breath becomes subtle, you should try to concentrate on the subtle breath. At that time, strong, powerful mindfulness, strong, powerful, full awareness is necessary. Full awareness is necessary. If you want to use very subtle needle, then there must be another needle to dig what hole. This is necessary. In the same way, when the breath becomes very subtle, at that time strong, powerful mindfulness and strong, powerful awareness is very important. And then please increase your mindfulness. Please penetrate to know the subtle breath. If you do in this way, slowly your concentration will improve. At that time, to do this, he should decide to make the breath tranquil and go on being continuously aware of the breath from beginning to end. He should do nothing else, otherwise his concentration will break and fall away. The Visuddhimagga gives 4 factors for making the breath tranquil. Number 1, concern, abhoga. Number 2, reaction, samanahara. Number 3, attention, manasikara. Number 4, reviewing, pichavakana. These 4 factors are necessary. So all he needs to do at this stage is to decide to tranquil the breath. When the breath is very gross, at that time the meditator must decide my breath must be tranquil. But additionally he should not try to breathe very smoothly. If he do, then concentration will decrease. Because of this reason, please allow in the natural way. But at the beginning of sitting, mind breath must be tranquil. In this way, you should decide. That decision is enough. Then please concentrate on your natural breath. Slowly, the breath will become subtle. So all he needs to do at this stage is to decide to tranquil the breath and to be continuously aware of it. That way he will find the breath becomes more tranquil and the nimitta may appear. Just before the nimitta appears, a lot of yogis encounter difficulties. Mostly they find that the breath becomes very subtle and unclear. They may think the breath has stopped. If this happens, he should keep his awareness where he last noticed the breath and wait for it there. So, when the breath disappears, they should wait and see on the previous touching point, nostril or upper lip. From this point only wait, but there is still very subtle, very gentle breath is still there. So because of this reason, you are still breathing. There are only 7% who do not breathe. Among 7% you are not included. Because they are dead person, you are not yet dead. In mother's womb, you are not yet in mother's womb. Fetus, they cannot breathe. Then unconscious persons, they do not breathe. You are still conscious. No unconscious man. Fourth jhana attainment. Within fourth jhana attainment, they do not breathe. No, you had not yet attained fourth jhana. Then cessation attainment, nirodha samapatti. Within cessation attainment, there is no breath. Completely stop. But you are not yet attained cessation attainment. And then Brahma also do not breathe. Does not breathe. You are not yet Brahma. So because of this reason, still you are breathing because of weakness of your mindfulness and awareness. You cannot feel the breath only. So just focus on the touching point and upper lip. Then you will feel breath very quickly. When it is subtle, he should not make the breath more obvious, as the effort will cause agitation, and his concentration will not develop. Just be aware of the breath as it is, and if it is not clear, simply wait for it where he last noticed it. He will find that as he applies his mindfulness and wisdom in this way, the breath will reappear. Here the Buddha is instructing the meditator to be aware of the whole breath from beginning to end. As he does this, the nimitta may now appear. If it does, do not immediately shift the mind to it, but stay with the breath. Why? For beginners, when the nimitta appear, usually nimitta is not stable. Why? Concentration is not yet deep enough to maintain the nimitta. Because of this reason, if they quickly shift to the nimitta will disappear. For some meditators, light is appear first. For some meditators, nimitta appear first. Why? It depends on their parami. When their parami is very mature, then when they are concentrated on the breath object, very quickly nimitta appear together with breath. But when their parami is a little bit far away, then they must try hard, because between their parami, between the one type of existence where they established their parami, in this very life, there are many defilements. Then they cannot concentrate well thoroughly, so they must try hard. But in one of previous life, very close to this very life, If they had practiced Anapana meditation thoroughly, then when they are concentrated on the natural breath, very soon breath will become nimitta very quick. So it depends on Parami. Because of this reason, if you focus on your nimitta very quickly, then because concentration is not yet deep enough to maintain this nimitta, then nimitta may disappear very quickly. So the best way is you should focus only just breath. Breath and nimitta must be together, coming up from your nostril. At that time, your concentrated mind will stick to the nimitta automatically, because the nimitta and breath are together. At that time, you will focus only just nimitta. At that time, breath also very subtle. Because of this reason, when focusing on your nimitta, you will forget your breath. But still, you are breathing. However, you do not pay attention to your breath. You pay attention only nimitta. Because of this reason, you can thoroughly concentrate on your nimitta. So the nimitta of Anapanasati varies according to the individual yogi. To some, the nimitta is pure and fine like cotton wool or drawn out cotton, moving air or a drought. A bright light like the morning star Venus, a bright ruby or gem, or a bright bar. To others it is like the stem of a cotton plant, or a sharpened piece of wood. To yet others it is like a long rope or string, a wreath of flowers, a puff of smoke, a stretch of copperwood, a film of mist, a lotus, a chariot wheel, a moon, or a sun. In most cases, a pure white nimitta like cotton wool is the Ogaha nimitta, taking up sign or learning sign. It is usually dull and opaque. When the nimitta becomes bright like the morning star, brilliant and clear, it is the Patibhaga nimitta counterpart sign. The other images should be understood in this way too. So even though Anapanasati is a single meditation subject, it produces various types of nimitta. The nimitta appears differently to different people. Thus, the nimittas are different because of perception. When perception changes, nimitta also change. Especially for those who can concentrate well on the nimitta. At that time, if they can concentrate more than 1 hour, 2 hours, etc. in every sitting, then if they change their perception, the nimitta will be changing. For example, if they want to see red color nimitta at that time, then nimitta will become red. If they want to see yellow color nimitta, then nimitta will become yellow. But this is for those who have enough concentration only. For beginners, it is impossible. If they want to see round nimitta, then nimitta will become round. If they want to see long nimitta, then nimitta will become long. So if the meditator try in this way, slowly concentration will decrease. Why? Photo Gase Bana Satain Tapetava Bhavanta Seva Bhavana Sampichati. This is very important rule. On the touching point, if you can concentrate on your breath, at that time only your concentration can develop up to the attainment of full absorption stage. But if you move your attention from the touching point to another area, then your concentration cannot develop and you cannot attain jhana. So this is very important. Because of this reason, please don't try to make the breath long or short, or to make the nimitta long or short, or maybe to make the nimitta different color. If the kala is changing, then concentration slowly will become decrease. So when concentrated on the nimitta anapana counteract sign, to avoid dropping into bhanga and to develop further, he needs to the help of the five controlling faculties. To push the mind and fix it on the anapana counteract sign, patibhaga nimitta. The five controlling faculties are: number 1, faith, saddha; number 2, effort, viriya; number 3, mindfulness, sati; number 4, concentration, samadhi; number 5, wisdom faculty, panya, which penetrates anapana counterpart side. So the five controlling faculties are the five powers that control the mind and keep it from straying off the path of samatha, tranquility, and vipassana insight that leads to nibbana. If one or more of the controlling faculties are in excess, they will be in balance. When the five controlling faculties are sufficiently developed and balanced, concentration will go beyond excess up to jhana, full absorption concentration. When he reaches jhana, his mind will know the patibhaga nimitta without interruption. This can continue for several hours, even all night or for a whole day. When his mind is still concentrated on the anapana patibhaga nimitta for 1 or 2 hours or more, he should try to discern the bhavanga mind and the anapana patibhaga nimitta together. The bhavanga mind is bright and luminous, which is situated at the area in the heart. When he sees nimitta appears in the bhavanga mind, he can discern 5 jhana phatas. But this is very interesting point. In Gautara Nikaya, there is one sutta, there is one chapter, Ichara Sangada chapter. In that chapter, Buddha teaches Pabba Sara Midam Bhikkhu Chaitanya. Because this bhavanga Chaitanya is luminous and bright. The commentary explained, is there any kala in mind? Mind has any kala. Do you understand? Has any kala? No. Mind is just consciousness and mental phatas only. They have no kala. Kala is the rupa, materiality, not mentality. When Buddha teaches in this way, sometimes Buddha teaches the Dhamma metaphorically. Please try to see me. Do you see me? By what? By what do you see me? Is it true? Do you see with your eye to me? Is it true? Is it true? Not true. This is metaphorically. Eye consciousness arises depending on your eye translucent element. That eye consciousness only sees. For example, if you close your eye, but there is still eye translucent, but you cannot see. Why? Why is eye consciousness cannot arise when you close your eye? If you open your eye at that time, if there is also enough light, at that time only eye consciousness can arise depending on your eye. At that time you can see this color. However, eye consciousness, I see you by my eye consciousness. For example, if you say, then they will laugh. They will not accept. Naturally, they use I see by my eye. You do not use I see by my eye consciousness. Is it true? Yes. In this way, in the same way, Buddha also teach this Dhamma metaphorically. What is the reason? Every consciousness which arises depending on your heart base can produce mind-born materiality, mind-born kalabas. One mind movement can produce uncountable mind-born kalabas. If you analyze each kalaba, in each kalaba there are 9 types of materiality, such as earth element, water element, fire element, wind element, color, odor, flavor, nutritive essence, and 8 types of nutritive essence. Among these 8 types, there is color. That color is luminous and bright. But not only one color, but there are one mind movement can produce uncountable mind-born kalabas. So within one finger snap, uncountable mind movements arise and pass away. Every mind movement can produce uncountable mind-born kalabas. So within one finger snap, there are uncountable mind-born kalabas. They arise closely to each other. Among those kalabas, in every kalaba there is color. One kalaba's color and another kalaba's color combined together become luminous and bright. Again, in each mind-born kalaba there is fire element, tejo, dhatu. That fire element is called temperature, udu. That temperature also can produce new generation, new kalabas. In each kalaba, in each kalaba of mind-born kalaba there is fire element. Every fire element produces many generations of temperature-born kalabas. In those kalabas there is also color. So combination of the mind-born kalabas color and temperature-born kalabas color become this luminous mirror, light mirror inside the heart. That mirror is also called mind-o, metaphorically only. So that Bhuinga mind state also arises depending on heart base. That Bhuinga mind state also can produce mind-born kalabas. In each mind-born kalaba there is also fire element. That fire element also can produce new generation, new kalabas. So combination of these 2 types of kalabas, mind-born kalabas kala and temperature-born kalabas kala become luminous mirror. That luminous mirror metaphorically is called Manodwara mind-o. That mind-o is very important. If you want to discern jhana phatas, then you must discern this Pratibhaga Nimitta counterpart sign, and then you should discern Bhuinga mind-o. As soon as you emerge from jhana, then this Anapana counterpart sign will appear in your mind-o. At that time you can discern jhana phatas. For beginners, usually we teach to discern jhana phatas one by one, for clear understanding. But if they can discern thoroughly, at that time we teach to discern 5 together. So what are 5 jhana phatas? Now you can see here. Number 1, obligation vidaka. Directing and placing the mind on the Anapana counterpart sign, Anapana Pratibhaga Nimitta. Number 2, sustainment vichara. Maintaining the mind on the Anapana Pratibhaga Nimitta. Number 3 is joy or rapture, piti. Liking for the Anapana Pratibhaga Nimitta. Number 4, bliss or pleasure, sukha. Happiness about the Anapana Pratibhaga Nimitta. Number 5, one-pointedness, ekagata. One-pointedness of mind on the Anapana Pratibhaga Nimitta. So these 5 jhana phatas arise. At the actual moment of full absorption, there are not only these 5 jhana phatas, but also There are other mental formations which are associated with these 5 jhana fetters. At the first jhana mind movement, there are 34 types of mental formations. They are, please try to see. Number 1, consciousness. Consciousness, chaita. Then, mental fetters, universal 7. Contact, feeling, perception, volition, one-pointedness, life faculty, attention. Occasional 6. Application, sustainment, decision, energy, joy or rapture. Desire. Beautiful universals. Faith, saddha, mindfulness, sati, conscience, hiri, shame, oddabba, no greed, alobha, no hatred, adosa, ever evilness, tadra, micca, tadda. Tranquility of mental body, kaya basadi, tranquility of consciousness, chitta basadi, lightness of mental body, kaya lahuda, lightness of consciousness, chitta lahuda. Flexibility of mental body, kaya mudduda, flexibility of consciousness, chitta mudduda. Weightiness of mental body, kaya gaminyada, weightiness of consciousness, chitta gaminyada. Proficiency of mental body, kaya bhagonyada, proficiency of consciousness, chitta bhagonyada. Residue of mental body, kaya kayu jugada, residue of consciousness, chitta jugada. No delusion, wisdom faculty. Total mental formations 34. So these 34 are very important. When practicing vipassana, these 34 only. You must try to accumulate these 34 again and again. They will become powerful. That powerful 34 can be jhana, can be vipassana. Then later can be part in fruition knowledge. So these 34 are very important. But while practicing jhana, these 5 jhana fetters are predominant fetters. Because of this reason, the combination of these jhana fetters are called jhana only. Each one is called jhaninga, jhana mental fetter only. But 5 together are called jhana. So many meditators, they misunderstand. How? Jhana can fly in the sky. Jhana is flying in the sky. They think, no, jhana is a combination of these 5 together are called jhana only. One by one is jhaninga, jhana fetter only. But I want to explain here Noble Eightfold Path. This Noble Eightfold Path is very important. When practicing samatha meditation at the actual moment of full absorption, there are also Noble Eightfold Path. They are, number 1, right view, which penetrates the anapana counterpart side, samadhi. Right intention, sammasankappa. Application of the mind to the anapana counterpart side. Right effort, sammavayama. Right effort for higher concentration for full absorption of anapana counterpart side. Right mindfulness, samasati. That right mindfulness is always remembering the anapana counterpart side. Right concentration on the anapana counterpart side only. Samma samadhi, altogether there are 5 fetters. Before practicing samatha meditation, the meditator already undertakes morality, which are number 6, right speech, sammavaca, number 7, right action, sammakamanda, number 8, right livelihood, sammajiva. Altogether there are Noble Eightfold Path at the first jhana mind moment. When practicing samatha also there are altogether noble eightfold path. But morality, right speech, right action, right livelihood, they are not associated with the 34. They arise separately only, 34 jhana dhammas. They arise separately only in mundane world. While practicing vipassana also same. While practicing vipassana, every meditator must undertake 5 precepts or 10 precepts, etc. At that time, right action, right speech, right action, and right livelihood are present. They do not associate with vipassana inside within one mind movement. They arise separately only. But when they realize Nibbana at that day, this 34 plus these 3 morality training, they rise together, altogether there are 37. So when practicing samatha meditation, there are also noble eightfold path. A meditator must develop this mundane, this is also one type of mundane noble eightfold path. A meditator must cultivate this mundane noble eightfold path. Supramundane noble eightfold path rise only once. It is impossible to develop. So you must develop this mundane noble eightfold path. Again, when practicing vipassana, also in the same way there are noble eightfold path. These noble eightfold path, when practicing vipassana, are also called mundane noble eightfold path. That mundane noble eightfold path you must develop. You can cultivate this mundane noble eightfold path. Supramundane noble eightfold path, which realize Nibbana, arise only once. Because of this, it is not easy to develop. So, you must cultivate or you must develop mundane noble eightfold path only. So, in Mahasri Prana Sutta, Buddha teaches this noble eightfold path also. Then he should continue to practice second jhana, third jhana, and fourth jhana according to procedure which are mentioned in the Visuddhimagga. Now I want to explain briefly. There are 5 masteries. Whenever you want to descend jhana pathas, you must try to descend very, very quickly. That descending jhana pathas, they separate 2 types of mastery. Number 1 is Avajjana Vasi. Number 2 is Pichavakana Vasi. If you are practicing mentality meditation, Namakamatana, if you can descend these 34 or 33, etc., these mental formations, at that time you will understand clearly. This is mental cognitive process. When you are reviewing or reflecting jhana pathas, this is also mental cognitive process. At the mental cognitive process, there may be 8 types of consciousness. Number 1 is mental advancing consciousness. Number 2 is impulsion. First jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, fifth jhana, 6th jhana, and 7th jhana, etc. Only. So these 7 jhanas in one type of mind movement, mental advancing consciousness. That mental advancing consciousness also can descend these 5 jhana pathas. This is called Avajjana Vasi. Then after mental advancing consciousness, there are 7 jhanas. For some meditators, 5 jhanas only. Then these jhanas also can descend these 5 jhana pathas. So this is called Pichavakana Vasi. So only within one cognitive process, they separately call Avajjana Vasi Pichavakana Vasi. But for beginners who are still who are now practicing samatha only, they cannot differentiate these two mastery. Because of this reason, we teach if the meditator can descend very quickly, this jhana pradas, it is enough. How quick? Within 1 second or 2 seconds, they can see this jhana pradas, it is enough. Then another is, whenever you want to enter into jhana, you must try to enter into jhana within 1 minute or within 1 second or 2 seconds, etc. Whenever you want to emerge from jhana, you should try to emerge from jhana. Why? Some meditators, if they enter into jhana, they cannot come out from jhana very quickly. It is not easy for them to come out from jhana. Their concentration is very deep. They cannot easily go out from jhana. So because of this reason, while practicing vipassana, if they cannot come out from jhana, it is not easy to contemplate these jhana dhammas as anicca, dukkha and anatta very quickly. Because of this reason, they must try mastery. Whenever they want to emerge from jhana, they should try to emerge from jhana. Another is to maintain concentration. For vipassana, they must enter into jhana. As soon as they enter into jhana, then they must come out from jhana very quickly and they must contemplate jhana dhammas as anicca, dukkha, anatta. In this way, they must do very quickly. But if they cannot do like that, then their vipassana insight cannot become mature. Because of this reason, they should do short adhitthana. Within 1 minute, they can emerge to come out from jhana, or within 1 second to come out from jhana, etc. But for beginners, they must do adhitthana, strong determination. For 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, it is better. Because they are not yet practicing vipassana. They are maintaining their concentration for a long time. At that time only their concentration will become deeper and deeper. Because of this reason, we suggest for beginners to maintain their concentration for about 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours or more. In every sitting, if they can maintain their concentration more than 3 hours, at that time usually we teach second jhana. However, there are also some old meditators. They cannot maintain for 3 hours. So at that time we must teach them. If they can maintain more than 2 hours or more than 1 hour, then we teach second jhana. But usually, if they can stay in 5 jhana for about at least 3 days or 4 days, 5 days, it is better. If they quickly go to second jhana, higher jhana, then their concentration is not so good. They cannot maintain higher jhana also for a long time. If they can maintain 5 jhana for a long time, when they go to second jhana, they can also maintain second jhana for a long time. If they can maintain second jhana for a long time, when they go to third jhana, they can maintain third jhana for a long time. If they can maintain third jhana for a long time, when they go to fourth jhana, they can maintain their concentration for a long time. So because of this reason, at least 3 days or 4 days, 5 days, they should maintain their concentration in each jhana. If they want to go to second jhana, how? This 5 mastery is very important. If they can maintain their concentration in every sitting for about 2 or 3 hours, at that time, if they want to go to second jhana, then they should re-establish their 5 jhana concentration for about 1 hour. When they emerge from 5 jhana, they should review or reflect 2 disadvantages and 1 advantage. What are 2 disadvantages? This 5 jhana is close to the enemy hindrances. This is 1 disadvantage. Why it is close? When a meditator can concentrate on the Anapana counterpart sign thoroughly. At that time only 5 hindrances will not visit to their mind. Before that stage, occasionally these one or two or many hindrances will visit to their mind. Because when they actually access concentration stage, Upachara Samadhi, at that time only 5 hindrances will not visit to their mind. Access concentration and jhana, full absorption concentration, they are very close to each other. Because of this reason, hindrances are also very close to this jhana. This is one disadvantage. Another disadvantage is, please reflect 5 jhana factors. Among 5 jhana factors, Vidyaka and Vichara, obligation and sustainment. If you do not apply your mind to your Anapana counterpart sign, your concentration will decrease. If you cannot sustain your concentration, then your mind and your Anapana counterpart sign, then concentration will decrease. However, without applying, without sustaining, without obligation, if you can maintain your concentration, it will be very good. So applying again and again, this is gross manner of mind. Because of this reason, these Vidyaka and Vichara, obligation and sustainment are gross. This is one disadvantage. Then you should review another advantage. Please reflect Piti, Sukha, Ekagata. Piti, Rapcha, Sukha, Palasya and Ekagata, one-pointedness. They are very, very peaceful. This is one advantage. After reflecting in this way, with the intention for the attainment of higher jhana, second jhana, you should concentrate on the nimitta. However, that reviewing two disadvantage and one advantage must be very, very short. Within few seconds, you should try to review these two disadvantages and one advantage. If you are reviewing it take long time, then nimitta may disappear. Because of this reason, within few seconds, you must try to finish this reviewing. Then please concentrate on the nimitta. Very soon, full absorption may arise. For beginners, this full absorption may be first jhana only. But for those who had already experienced second jhana, then they may go directly. The meditator must stay in full absorption for 2 or 3 minutes. Imagine from that full absorption, while reviewing jhana factors, at that time only he will see Vidyaka, Vichara, obligation and sustainment are very gross. Piti, Sukha, Ekagata, Rapcha, Palasya and one-pointedness. These 3 jhana factors are very, very peaceful. At that time, with the intention to remove gross factors and to achieve peaceful factors, which is second jhana. The meditator must concentrate on the nimitta again, Anapana counterpart sign. Then very soon full absorption will arise. That full absorption may be second jhana. If it is really second jhana, then meditator will understand Vidyaka, Vichara, obligation and sustainment disappear. Only 3 jhana factors, Piti, Sukha and Ekagata, Rapcha, Palasya and one-pointedness remain. If it is so, then he should maintain this second jhana 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, etc. And then he should practice 5 mastery, at least 4 or 5 days. If he is satisfied, if he want to go to that jhana, then he should stay in first jhana for few minutes only. He should stay in second jhana about 1 hour. Imagine from second jhana, then he should review again in the same way 2 disadvantages and 1 advantage. Two disadvantages are this second jhana is close to the enemy first jhana. In other words, the enemy of Uddhaka, Vichara, obligation and sustainment. Then please review again PD. PD is rupture or join. That join or rupture produces a lot of emotion. Is it true? When the object is, if you please one object very, very clearly, then emotion will rise. So this is a gross manner. Because of this reason, please review PD is gross. Then please review again Sukha Ekagata. Pleasure is one-pointedness. These two jhana padas are very, very peaceful. So after reviewing these two disadvantages and one advantage, with the intention for the attainment of that jhana, you should concentrate on your nimitta only. While concentrating on the nimitta, very soon full absorption will arise. That full absorption for beginners may be second jhana again. For experts who had experience, they can directly go. But for beginners, maybe second jhana. Then they should stay in. You should stay in second jhana. In that second jhana for about 2 or 3 minutes. Imagine from second jhana while reviewing jhana padas, you will see PD is very gross. Sukha Ekagata, pleasure in one-pointedness. They are very, very peaceful. At that time, with the intention to remove gross pada PD and to achieve peaceful padas, Sukha and Ekagata. This is that jhana. You should concentrate on the nimitta. Then full absorption will rise very quickly. That full absorption may be that jhana. If it is really that jhana, then meditator will understand. PD disappear. And then there is only Sukha and Ekagata. Pleasure and one-pointedness only. Then, if it is so, then the meditator should meditate this that jhana for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, etc. While maintaining this that jhana, you should stay in every sitting. You must start first jhana. First jhana you can stay 2 or 3 minutes. Second jhana 2 or 3 minutes. Then third jhana for a long time. If you are satisfied, and then if you want to go to fourth jhana again, you should re-establish this first jhana concentration for about 1 hour. Imagine from that jhana full absorption, then you can review or you can reflect two disadvantages and one advantage in the same way. Two disadvantages are number one is that jhana is close to the enemy PD. This is one of second jhana pada. Then please review Sukha. Sukha is also very close. Why? If the object is very, if there is happiness or pleasure to any object, then a little bit mind is a little bit shaken, enjoying this object. So because of this reason, this is also gross pada. Then please review Upekkha, Ekagata. Upekkha is equanimous feeling. And then Ekagata, one-pointedness. These two jhana padas are very peaceful. After reviewing in this way, please concentrate on the Anapana counterpart side with the intention for the attainment of fourth jhana. However, for beginners, when full absorption appear again, this full absorption may be that jhana only. You can stay in that jhana for a few minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. Imagine from that jhana, coming out from that jhana, you should review Janapadas. When reviewing Janapadas, at that time you will see Sukha is very gross. Upaka, Ekagra, two Janapadas are very peaceful. At that time, with the intention to remove gross pada and to achieve peaceful padas, this is fourth jhana. You should concentrate on the nimitta, okay? While concentrating on the nimitta, very soon full absorption may rise. That full absorption may be fourth jhana. If it is really fourth jhana, then you will understand Sukha, this be only equanimous feeling, equanimity and one-pointedness. There are two jhana padas are remain. Then you should maintain this fourth jhana concentration for a long time, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, etc. While maintaining this fourth jhana concentration, you must start in every sitting from first jhana. In first jhana, you should stay 2 or 3 minutes, second jhana 2 or 3 minutes, third jhana 2 or 3 minutes. Then you can maintain your fourth jhana concentration for a long time. At that time, you should not investigate whether I'm breathing or not. Because this investigating mind can produce very subtle breath. When actually, if you are entering into fourth jhana, at that time no breath. However, if you imagine from jhana, fourth jhana, if you investigate, that investigating may produce very, very subtle breath. So because of this reason, many meditators, they have a lot of doubt in this case. Because they think there is a little bit subtle breath. So today, maybe now 9 o'clock, I want to stop my Dhamma talk here, but you can discuss openly, no problem. You can ask many questions. If you do not understand, please do Siale. Please do Siale. Then you can practice mentality meditation. Then at that time you will understand clearly. For beginners, it is not easy to differentiate. This is the mind-embodied consciousness which review jhana-padas. This is impulsion, jhana mind movement which reviews jhana-padas. They cannot differentiate. But when they practice mentality meditation, at that time they can differentiate. Okay. That jhana 2, Sukha Ekaggata. This is for experts. Please try to become expert. But we suggest to review every jhana. It is better. Slowly they will become expert. Yes, because this is reviewing knowledge, not jhana knowledge. Maybe for beginners, sitting posture is very good, but for experts, not necessary to differentiate. Penariba Moglana fighting with dragon, Nando Bananda dragon, he is not sitting. If he is sitting, then dragon will attack to him. So for experts they can do anyway, but for beginners only. Beginner sitting posture is very good for higher concentration. No question? Maybe while reviewing, for example, if they had already attained that jhana, if they want to review jhana patterns, as soon as they emerge from that jhana, they should review. At that time only they can see jhana patterns, but for few seconds later, if they review, they cannot see. So very quickly they must do. As soon as they emerge, very quickly they do. They should try to review jhana patterns. But if it is not clear, then please re-establish the jhana concentration. May be possible for some meditators. But if it is not okay, then go back to first jhana again. First jhana few minutes, second jhana few minutes, and third jhana for at least 1 hour. It is better. At that time, as soon as they emerge from jhana, they can review these jhana patterns very quickly. Maybe this is before sitting. Maybe after sitting, before meditating, they should do daytana. Strong determination. May Fajana concentration lasts long for about 1 hour or 2 hours, etc. Then while practicing, they should do nothing. Then if their decision, strong determination is true, truth means become true, then they may emerge when it is 1 hour, when it is 2 hours, etc. While meditating, they should do nothing. Before meditating only, they must do this daytana. You can do daytana to become Siale also say. Not temporary. If they can do daytana permanent, it is also possible. Really stop. Yes, in Godra Nikaya there is Anubhava Nirodha Sutta. In that Anubhava Nirodha Sutta, in fourth jhana the birth completely ceases. In this way Buddha teaches. So complete cessation. Okay, don't worry, don't worry, still working. Because of the power of jhana kusala, higher concentration. Maybe this is Buddha's teaching only. For beginners, it is not easy means because of Bharami only. So they should focus only on the nursery or upper lip. This is best way. If they follow throughout the body, concentration cannot be deep enough for attainment of jhana. Why? They are reviewing from one part to another. Mind is going from one part to another. So if they are going in this way, mind cannot be concentrated mind. Only just reviewing mind. Maybe this wise addition, in this case, full awareness. In this case, Buddha say full awareness, fully awareness. This is also important. Fully awareness of the meditation object. This is also one type of wise attention. So there are three factors: ardent, strong, powerful effort. Fully awareness. This is sampajana. This is one type of wise attention. Then mindfulness. These three factors are necessary. You must remove every attachment, covetousness, and then grief, the unhappiness. But this is only for example. All unwholesome dhammas you must remove. They are leaders. Maybe, for example, your saddha, faith or confidence is very weak. Then you should read some suttas which will encourage you to increase faith. Or you should listen to Dhamma which will increase your faith. Or you should discuss with teachers who will encourage you to increase faith. This is one. Then viriya, strong powerful effort is necessary. If effort is very weak, then you should review your own sickness, your own death, all sickness, death, etc. And then after that, coming future sufferings and woeful states. Lazy persons are usually, after that, they must go to one of woeful states. Strong, powerful effort man. What is effort? To remove unwholesome dhammas which had already risen. To remove unwholesome dhammas which had not yet risen. To increase wholesome dhammas which are not yet rising. To increase wholesome dhammas which had already risen. So these four types of effort is necessary. Now you are not yet adding jhana. I will try to attain jhana. In this way you must increase your effort. After reviewing illness, sickness in this very life and death. After that we must go to another mother's womb. So inside mother's womb there may be many sufferings. Or maybe we may go to one of woeful states. There are many sufferings. So to escape from these different types of sufferings, lazy person is impossible. Only strong powerful effort, who has strong powerful effort can escape from these sufferings. So you must do in this way, you should encourage to yourself. This is viriya. Saddha, viriya, sati, mindfulness. To increase mindfulness, you must pay attention again to your meditation object. Then samadhi concentration. You must intentionally try to concentrate on your meditation object only. At that time concentration will increase. Then Pinya wisdom faculty. When practicing samatha, Pinya is very weak, not so strong, powerful, not very high. Penetrating the nimitta or knowing the nimitta or penetrating the nimitta, this is only wisdom faculty. So, for attainment of wisdom faculty, concentration is very important. Samadhi bhikkhve bhaveta samahito bhikkhve bhikkhu yatha buddham pajanati. Bhikkhus develop concentration. They concentrated mind and understand the dhammas as they really are. So concentration can produce this nimitta. At that time, wisdom faculty will penetrate this nimitta. So saddha, viriya, sati, samadhi, pinya. So saddha and pinya must be balanced. If saddha is very strong, pinya, wisdom faculty is very weak. They will believe in vain activities, useless, meaningless activities. But when wisdom faculty is very strong, saddha is very weak. They will criticize a lot to others. So they will criticize only, they will do nothing. So because of this reason, saddha and wisdom faculty must be balanced. Then again, viriya and effort. Viriya, effort and concentration, samadhi must be balanced. So when concentration is very strong, laziness will appear. When effort is very strong, restlessness will appear. So they must balance. So if these 5 controlling faculties are balanced, you can attain jhana. Maybe anytime you can review, while walking also you can review, but this is occasionally only. If you review always, then your concentration also will decrease. Reviewing is when there is any problem only. But in this case, 4 productive meditations are very important. Asubha bhavedabha ragasa bhahanaya. If attachment become very strong while practicing samatha or while practicing vipassana, at that time you must practice asubha formless meditation, asubha bhavana. This is asubha bhavana. There are 2 types of asubha: animate asubha and inanimate asubha. Savinyanaga asubha, avinyanaga asubha. Animate asubha, savinyanaga asubha means to review 32 parts of body, both internally and externally. This is also one type of asubha meditation, formless meditation. Then avinyanaga asubha, inanimate asubha means dead body. You should try to see dead body, and then you should practice asubha formless meditation. You can attain jhana. So while practicing samatha or vipassana, if there is any attachment is very strong, at that time if you practice this asubha meditation, then that attachment will decrease. This is one method. Then Metta bhavedabha vyabhadasa bhahanaya. When practicing samatha or vipassana, if you have a lot of anger, then you should practice metta meditation up to jhana stage. Metta jhana. Then that metta jhana will destroy this anger. So then while practicing samatha or vipassana, if you have a lot of problem, I can attain jhana, they cannot do. So such type of problem, then you can practice anicca sinya bhavedabha asmi mana samoggadaya. I. In this way you have a lot of problem. Such type of, to suppress this such type of problem, you must practice anicca sinya. But this is for vipassana meditators only. If you are practicing vipassana, you can see ultimate materiality, ultimate mentality, both internally and externally, past, present, and future. At that time, you must contemplate them as anicca, dukkha, anatta. While contemplating as anicca, as soon as they arise, they pass away very, very quickly, this mentality and materiality. So they are anicca impermanent. At that time you will not see I. Because they are mentality and materiality, as soon as they arise, they perish away. So there is no time to tell this is I, this is I, this is I. So if you have a lot of pride, you must practice this anicca sanya. So these are very important. Sometimes you have no confidence, no much faith. Faith is very weak. Other than you must try recollection of Buddha's quality, Buddha Nosti. Sometimes you have no samvega, sense of spiritual urgency. Then you want to enjoy with sensual pleasures. At that time you should try Marananusti, recollection of your own death. So these are also very important. So because of this reason, in ancient time, every meditator must practice number 1, metta, number 2, Buddha-Nusri, recollection of Buddha's quality, number 3, Asubha formless meditation, number 4, Maranasati, recollection of their own death. They are 4 protected meditations. Okay. And then the excess concentration. Usually we call excess concentration or out of concentration. But that reviewing mind is similar to vipassana. Vipassana insight. As soon as they emerge, if they quickly review, we call this is one type of vipassana. They can see these jhana factors. This is the method mentioned in the Anubhara Sutta. In Anubhara Sutta, Venerable Sariputta practice vipassana by way of Anubhata. Anubhata means he contemplates jhana dhammas one by one, systematically. For example, he re-established his Fajjana concentration. When he emerged from Fajjana concentration, he contemplates jhana dhammas one by one. For example, here 34, we had explained. Consciousness, jhana consciousness, nature, phasa, contact is nature, varana, feeling is nature. In this way, one by one he do. If he cannot do, then he re-establish Fajjana again. And imagine from Fajjana, he again review this. This is reviewing knowledge as well as vipassana also. Okay, no question? Okay, let us stop today. Tomorrow we can try again. Sharing merit. Okay, sharing merit. Idhame Bonya Asavakya Vahahodu Idhame Bonya Nibbana Sa Pachayo Hodu Idhame Bonya Sabha Sadhana Bhajema Tesabe Mesama Punya Baga Labandu Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu